YouTube link in here so I can follow along in the chat. What up? We're live.
We live.
Yes, sir. How you doing today, Robert?
Chilling like a villain. With my bling bling spilling. All right, let me send this to Dave.
Look at us. We made it to the second episode.
Look at us.
Who would have thought?
Who'd have thought?
Not me.
Not me. God, Paul Rudd just so candid in that video. Hilarious.
Dude, that's a viral meme, man. I was like, I literally use that a little too much, probably overused.
It's too perfect. Oh yeah, you needed the YouTube link too, right? All right,
yeah.
Link.
Gotta make sure we get these people their points, man. Points today. Slanging points today. Batty style.
Slanging research purposes only. All right, cool. You said we're coming in clear, and we look great. Awesome. All right, let's do it.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another show of Trust But Verify with Rob and Josh. I'm Yankee in the Discord and Eco, and Twitter handle's Crypto Yankee, and then Rob is Rob Fizzle. Also, his handle on Twitter is Rob Fizzle. But yeah, you'll notice there's a little bit of a name change. We went ahead and went with Trust But Verify. It kind of fits right in with our ethos in terms of being just everyday guys that are really passionate and love crypto, and we really know our stuff, and take a lot of passion and really diving into the different protocols that we love and just helping people really understand these things in layman's terms. But we went with Trust But Verify because trust what we say, but definitely go ahead and verify what we're saying, because we do not claim to be the gurus or the know-it-alls and everybody ins and outs tech wise. So in any case, Rob and I have known each other again, kind of talked about our last show. We've known each other since we were in 5th grade, so almost 20 years now. And for us, this entire show is all about helping bridge the gap between the everyday person and what's happening in the crypto space, and also helping those in the community with updates, what's happening with Eco, everything that's happening in crypto in general. So for today's show, we're going to focus on some new exciting updates in Eco, do a crypto fortnight, just kind of current events of what's happening. Touch on a little bit of our favorite old man yelling at Bitcoin. And then we're going to do something pretty cool throughout the show. We're going to throw in some challenges and end the show and wrap up with some crypto fails. So few people have reached out to us and shared some stories that they have as well. Me and Rob are going to share our own crypto fails that have definitely been major fails. Should probably be sitting in a giant mansion right now, if I might say so for myself, my own fail story, but stick around for that and, feel that pain with me. But anyways, just starting out with, kind of what's going on in Eco. Rob, why don't you give us an update? There was actually some pretty cool things that went out with a new website.
Yeah. Beautiful intro, my man. Nailed it. What's up, everyone? Glad to have y'all back listening. If you're live with us, what's up? If you're catching us later, also what's up? Yeah, so ecosystem updates. I think the biggest thing that I've taken away from Eco in the recent past is the new website that's about to launch with the new design and the new logo. As you can see, I got it up here on my monitor. Got some deeper colors, some deeper colors with the logo. But I think the coolest thing that I got to take away from the website walkthrough that you can find in the was it the past audio channel? Was it past audio channel? Yeah, in the past audio channel, you can see Andy's video walkthrough of the new website. And what I took away from his walkthrough was kind of how the new design, well, not even kind of, how the new design fits the Eco ethos of compounding over time, right? With Eco, it's one simple balance where you can spend, send and earn money, spend, send and save and earn money. And it's compounding over time, right? They offer phenomenal cash back rates and interest rates on your balance. And so, yeah, it's a really cool, as you scroll down the website, the shapes start to compound on top of each other as you get deeper down the rabbit hole and you learn more about eco. Your knowledge of eco is compounding, and that directly aligns with what eco is accomplishing with their platform. So pretty dope. And I love the new logo. I think it's super sick. And yeah, I'm excited for when the website gets out into the public and people are able to watch that happen live. So yeah, very cool stuff. What about you, man? Is there anything else that is going on in like the Eco Discord group that is standing out to you at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So, everything in Eco is community driven, which is why, Rob and I love it so much, is because we all get, kind of a voice and a say and a really, get our hands in and kind of building the foundation for the future and with the company as well. So always check out the announcements channel, but to give you guys kind of some updates on what's happening. Lots going on. Dave put together a few new challenges and channels as well, and events that are going on. So just a few of those. There's a new channel. It's community activities. So it's really for the entire community to go ahead and suggest their own bounties, their own challenges, puzzles as well, and kind of just giving you guys like kind of what's happening. And we always want your guys' input as well. But the one that I'm really excited about is the hashtag brain talent pool. That's a really exciting one for community members to kind of showcase their skills and the assets that they can bring to the overall goal and ethos of eco. So what the entire premise of that is to really go ahead and go in there and link your different previous work or awards or highlights in the Eco Discord, your portfolio in terms of creative content, design, artwork, and give yourself an idea about different expertise that you have and any ways that you really want to build with the community. We encourage for a few people to get in there and like say, hey, we'd love to work on this together and kind of go at it full bore and just really create those community driven projects that Eco we really hold a passion to. So we've also got a pretty exciting opening ceremonies challenge. That's a new channel as well. The latest activity in there is just a new bounty for the upcoming Olympic Games, and it's a great way to kick off our own Eco Olympics. So go ahead and check out that if you're interested in that. And then
hashtag Ethiopia.
Yes, hashtag Ethiopia. It's a beautiful hashtag. It means so much to so many people. It's beautiful. It's evolving. But anyways, and then the last one, we've always got new lotteries going live. So there's a lottery right now for 25 tickets to enter. Maximum number to be sold is 150, and we're going to do 5 winner picks. So go in there, spin that wheel. There's a famous saying by Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% shots that you don't, or 100% of the shots that you don't take. So go in there, take a shot, get yourself some sweet eco points.
So do we even need to go to Vegas anymore? We can just.
Apparently not, man. We can just have poker night every other week.
Eco Discord.
Yeah, for real.
There's no need. There's no need to even get a flight to Vegas, man.
Win Eco blackjack and roulette.
For real. I mean, they got the poker tournament that has happened a couple of times. So yeah, I don't know how they could work in like a blackjack thing, but I don't know if someone out there has a blackjack idea, you can definitely count me in. I will be there.
Yeah, we'd love it.
All right, dope, dude. So yeah, I guess that does it for our eco updates. I'm sure we'll have some more updates for you in the future with next episodes. But that was just kind of the things that stood out to Josh and I in these past couple of weeks. All right, let's get into our crypto fortnight segment here, where we're just going to talk about noteworthy news as far as what's happening in the wonderful, wacky world of crypto. Our first topic that we wanted to talk about is one that we've seen brought up quite a bit in the crypto chat channel in the Eco Discord group, and that's all this BlockFi FUD that's been going on, and it's definitely has to do with compliance. We saw that the first state to send a cease and desist to BlockFi was New Jersey. They sent out a cease and desist. And then that kind of created a domino effect. We had then Alabama come out and provide, I think it was like a show cause. It wasn't a cease and desist. I believe they called it like a show cause. And so now BlockFi, BlockFi is in talks with the Alabama state officials. And then just recently, we also saw that Texas is now also, I'm not entirely sure if they did a cease and desist or show cause, but they've come out and said that, BlockFi, they need to have pretty much a discussion with BlockFi and figure out if what they're doing is kosher. And, after, Josh and I did a little bit of research on like what initially started this. We don't have any, background in compliance at all. Most of our information is just from what we've read from various different articles and things like that. So
we're not feds, don't worry, guys.
Yeah, trust what we say, but make sure you verify it afterwards, because what we say now might be, the truth, but later on it might not be. So make sure you verify. So from what I've gathered personally, it seems like BlockFi recently has been getting in trouble because they listed or they put Uniswap, the Uni token, on their platform for users to earn yield off of holding Uniswap on the platform, BlockFi platform. And I guess that is what's being deemed as an unregulated or a non-regulated security in these states. And we saw New Jersey kind of be the first mover and then create this domino effect. Now we have Alabama and Texas. It's really interesting to see how this is going to play out. Like, how do you think it's going to play out, Josh? Or what do you think is like happening, behind the scenes from what we can't really get from these articles?
Yeah, I mean, I think more importantly, like kind of understanding just what a security is, right? I mean, it's basically just a tradable asset that the financial institutions like the SEC or even local and state governments say that, hey, you can trade that. That's fine. The problem with what's happening with BlockFi and some of these interest-bearing tokens, what I'm seeing is that they're scared. We talked a little bit about it in the crypto chat, but basically you see that BlockFi is a lot different than what you would think a Gemini or a Coinbase is, right? Rob and I and people like us would, go on there, buy a couple tokens and, kind of hold it there or even, have our own private wallets. But what BlockFi does is really streamline that for institutional buyers, right? Because of the liquidity that you can't really go on Coinbase or Gemini and just buy $1 million worth of tokens, because the liquidity there it's not financially doable, and the slippage and things that would happen, not ideal for somebody that has the big bucks. So what they do is really facilitate an on-ramp for these larger institutions that have that kind of money to use these different types of protocols like an Aave or a Compound, where you can like provide liquidity to a decentralized pool and earn interest on your the liquidity that you provide. They also provide kind of those large scale transactions and trades, so you can actually trade through their own their platform as well. And what they're getting in hot water with is that Uniswap, and we kind of went through this a few years ago, if people had remembered. There is a big court filing that was trying to determine whether or not Ethereum and Bitcoin were commodities and securities, and so it was this whole big thing. Ultimately, it ended up being deemed as, it's a security, so you're all good. You can trade it, and it's not a big deal. But what was the tough part about what these new tokens are going through is they do not have that same regulatory framework in place. So at the end of the day, you have these massive companies putting massive amounts of money into BlockFi instead of putting it into the bank, state, local governments. And so what they're all worried and concerned about, and they see BlockFi as, and this entire space as, is a disruptor, right? That money could have gone into their accounts, into their vaults, where they would ultimately lend it out and do whatever they want with it, which is the whole purpose of decentralized finance, is to not have to deal with that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, what's really kind of going on is you provide these tokens, stable coins, or even something like Ethereum into a liquidity pool, and you gain interest. some of these interest-bearing tokens can be anywhere from 8% all the way to 24%, which seems like quite a lot. But when you're getting that back into what the banks see it as, is you're getting unregistered securities and getting money that you're not supposed to have. And they're trying to really crack down on that on-ramp so that they can stop that, put their foot down. And what you're really seeing is the first shot fired by TradFi in a localized arena at DeFi. So it'll be really interesting to see, how it plays out. And a lot of it has to go back to, we kind of brought up, there was somebody that brought up in the chat about BitLicense, because that has a lot to do with some of the regulatory framework that BlockFi doesn't have. They don't have a BitLicense, meaning that they can't operate or provide services in the state of New York or to New York citizens. So that got brought up in terms of like, hey, is ECO kind of in that same ballpark? Is there concern for us as users? And the simple answer is 100% no. And what was great is seeing Nishi step in. Rob and I have been in the Discord for a little over 8 months now, and really haven't, I'm sure he's been in there a few times, but he popped it right away and said, BitLicense is a pain in the ass, and it is to get. It's very difficult, time consuming, a lot of resources go into it, but it's important to us and particularly important to me. That was what he said. And for us, that makes us feel good, because BitLicense is something that really validates and provides legitimacy to a lot of different crypto companies that are looking to really operate and take their things to the next level. You also see that in some cases, there's been talk in the Discord about, when's this happening or when's this coming out? But what you see BlockFi going through and what you've seen Ripple go through in the past, where they get in trouble with the SEC, they rush things before they're ready on not only a product standpoint, but also a regulatory standpoint. And what ECO does not want to have happen, and what's happening with BlockFi and what's happening with Ripple, the minute that you have that brand or tied to an SEC lawsuit, whether allegedly or not, that becomes stuck to your brand. And it's very difficult for, say, a Ripple or even a BlockFi, who knows what happens, to really break from that. And it's really difficult for the consumer to have trust again. So what ECO's doing is taking their time to do it the right way, because it is a groundbreaking and world-changing application and usability for everybody to own their own money and really build off of what's been built on DeFi, but also doing it the right way and doing the regulatory framework with going towards a BitLicense, making sure that all your ducks in a row before actually even, going live and launching it, because you don't want to have that tied to your brand. So the other thing that's really exciting for us is that it's important to them. You can go into a lot of different Discords where a BitLicense might be brought up, and I can bet you anything that the admins in that group are saying, okay, hopefully this gets buried, right? We don't want to answer that because it is too time consuming and we don't care. But the fact that the leadership in ECO jumped on it immediately and said, yes, it's a pain in the ass, but it is important to us and it's something that we want to accomplish. That should make you feel confident that regardless of what's happening outside of ECO is doing everything that they possibly can to make sure that they're keeping the best interest of the community, and more importantly, making sure that they can make a big impact in the world when the product is ready to go.
For sure. I got to correct you on one thing though, dude. We have not been in the Discord for 8 months. It's been like,
no,
it's been like 4 months.
It feels like 8 months.
I know. In crypto time, it's been like 8 months, but we got in like March, I think.
You said you're going to correct me. I was like, oh God, did I say something wrong?
No. I was like, you said 8 months. I was like, dang, has it been that long? But I guess that's like,
I was like, since February, maybe.
Crypto months, right?
Crypto months, yeah.
Like
crypto months is like 9 years.
4 months feels like 8 months, 2x the months. And yeah, we've been in 8 months. But yeah, just to piggyback off what you're saying, as far as like, why we're so confident in ECO, as of now, under the hood, they're leveraging US dollar coin. And as far as I know, that's, not considered an unregistered security. So
yeah, well, actually Circle does have a BitLicense. There you go.
Right. Yeah, there you go. So Circle, is part of the USDC governance team with Coinbase as well. And they both have BitLicenses in New York. So that, makes us feel confident that, as Nishi, the head of compliance, brought up in the Discord, crypto chat that, it's on the roadmap. It's personal. It's on the roadmap for Eco, and it's a personal goal for him. And, like Josh was saying, there's a bunch of crypto companies right now that are just saying, you know what, fuck this. We just don't want to go through the bit license, hassle, because it's not worth it for us. We can operate everywhere else, and we're making enough money, so it doesn't matter to us. And we hear this phrase a lot or see it a lot in the Eco Discord, and anything related to Eco, is that Eco is for everyone. And when they say that, they mean it. Like, they are out here trying to make this happen for everyone. And so that when you see that coming from the co-founders and people that are higher up in Eco, and they're trying to make this happen for everyone, like that, it definitely makes you confident in makes me confident in the project, and it should make you confident in the project too. So yeah, we kind of just wanted to bring up that whole like BlockFi FUD. I personally think the way it's going to play out is it could be a couple of different things. Depending on, I think it's going to be a state by state thing. I think BlockFi and whatever state officials, be it New Jersey or in Bama or Texas, I think what will happen is they, obviously they're now having the discussion. To me, like watching this unfold, it was like state officials are like dudes that are super cool at another school, and people from the rival school are throwing a fat party and all their friends are there and they want to get into the party. So this is their way of getting into the party, right? Like knocking on the door is like putting down these like sanctions, or like, sending a cease and desist or whatever, just to have the conversation, which I think is just ridiculous, right? Like, are these conversations even happening prior to them like announcing this? I don't know. That's just how I'm interpreting the situation. But now they're having this conversation, so I think it's going to go one of a couple of ways, potentially BlockFi and New Jersey or Bama and Texas, they come to some type of consensus where they're like, okay, like you can do this, but you can't do that, and you can still operate in our states. Be that like they have to pull, like, if you're in Texas, you can't have access to getting yield from the Uniswap token. Maybe that's something that happens, or we might just see them completely pull out of the state. Like, we'll operate everywhere else that it's easier to, but like, screw these states because they're not willing to work with us and we don't need to work with them. So we're moving on. And that's how I think it's going to play out. We'll see. I mean, this is all just speculative, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, like over the long term too. I mean, you think about like what Eco does as compared to what they're doing. We're not, providing interest bearing, on your Uniswap tokens or even swapping tokens or anything like that, right? We're all about, kind of giving the power back to the individual person and control over their money, and helping them get more out of their money than they would out of a normal savings account. So it's really not in the same ballpark. So don't, have those. When you think about the BlockFi FUD, you think about Eco, it's two very separate and different entities and different visions, and really not the same thing. Even further than that, from a regulatory standpoint, how difficult it is to get a bit license, how difficult it is to kind of legitimize yourself as a company in the space today. Those hoops and those companies that are able to jump through the hoops today, we see all this news coming out about them trying to figure out more regulatory framework. So the companies that aren't keeping abreast and keeping up with what's happening today, compliance-wise, are going to get left behind once those new compliance, frameworks and regulations and laws come out. So now, instead of having to battle everything that they had to do before and everything they have to do now, someone like Eco, who's really staying abreast and staying on top of the things, are going to be able to continue to innovate, continue to build, and really deliver that next level product that can actually execute on the vision that they have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Cool.
Did you hear that? Do you hear that?
Oh, challenge time, baby. That's our challenge. Air horn, folks. We have a challenge for the Eco community here. We're about to start talking about the B Word conference panel that happened a couple days ago with Kathy Wood from ARK Investment, Elon Musk from Tesla, SpaceX, and Jack Dorsey of Twitter. And they're talking about Bitcoin. But our challenge question here to the Eco community, before we get into this topic, you're gonna answer this challenge in the, was it the live chat? Hold on, I just want to verify where we want to make this happen.
Look at that. Look at us holding true to our name.
Yeah.
Trust in what we're saying.
All right. So for this challenge here, folks, the first 10 people to put in the live event chat channel. So the live event chat channel on Discord in the Eco server. The first 10 people to list the 3 coins that Elon Musk said that he holds in the B word conference will get some eco points from Dave. So let me repeat that one more time. In the live events chat, you're going to list the 3 cryptocurrency coins that Elon Musk announced that he personally holds on the B word conference. So if you're listening live, you definitely have an advantage because you can answer those questions or answer that question right now. If you're listening later and 10 people haven't, then you can still earn some points because it's the first 10. So live events chat, the 3 coins that Elon Musk said that he holds.
For 10 points. 10
eco points, that's what it was. All right, cool. Thanks. All right, so I guess, yeah, let's get into that topic. We'll see if anyone's hitting up the chat or if they do later. But yeah, what were your takeaways from the B word conference panel, Josh?
Well, I'm really shocked that Elon Musk, as sophisticated as he is holding Neo, EOS, and Ripple. I mean, it's just kind of like odd that those would be the 3 tokens that he would like kind of shill. I was like kind of weird about it, but just kidding. That's not what he said. But I thought it was great. You know, I think that overall it was really exciting for the long-term growth and health of Bitcoin. It was very specific to Bitcoin and what was going on in the space with mining and green energy and kind of what they all view it as. But looking on Twitter, it's, you know, some of the OG accounts that have been around since 2013, 2014, or even as far back as 2019 or 2012, they all had said the same thing. It's like, you know, to see 3 of the most powerful people in the world talking about the future of Bitcoin on a world stage, which is the internet, is groundbreaking enough for the space as it is. It's come so far to where people are actually talking about the use and the value that it brings to, you know, countries that have monetary systems that have failed, or even to our own lives, and being able to really change and create world peace and really where the space is going. Some big takeaways for me, that was the big takeaway. It's just that like they all believe in it long term, and they're some of the smartest people on the planet. So what about you, Rob? How'd you feel?
I mean, you already know how I feel. The biggest takeaway from the entire conference was the fact that Elon Musk said that he holds Ethereum. That was just, and I guess a little bit of Doge too. I hold both. Disclaimer, I do hold both of those holdings. So yeah, I guess aside from that though, like my biggest takeaway from it was I was just stoked that Elon was talking about other protocols. Like, yes, you know, the conference is called the B word, so you expect, you know, everyone to be talking about Bitcoin. But you know, kudos to Elon for, you know, having the cojones to talk about other protocols. You know, some maybe a little bit more relevant than others as far as like, you know, advancing of the space. I mean, that's just my own personal opinion. But I also wanted to like play a short snippet from the video that I kind of want to like hear your take on it, and I'll give you my take on it too. But let me pull up the video real quick here.
Let's see what you got for me, Rob Fizzle.
So yeah,
we'll make a sizzle or what?
Check out this clip. It's like a quick little clip here.
Yeah, that's part of why I think there may be some merit to something that may seem silly, like Ethereum, like Dogecoin. I think Ethereum also, like I said, the three things I own outside of.
All right, and then I'll pause it there. Yeah, what's your take on that like stutter step of I think there's some merit, and then he like laughs, and I hear like 90% of the word Ethereum, and then he stutter steps back and says Doge. Like, what's your take on that there?
I think he knows what he's doing, and I think that he was definitely coached just a little bit to make sure that he wasn't, you know, kind of going crazy with the markets, because it was a volatile day. And one of the biggest things that he took away from that was it's great to hear that he only pumps, he doesn't dump. So no dump.
That was all over my timeline within seconds. Like Twitter is just like, I gotta be first. Everyone on Twitter is like, I gotta be the first one to rehash this phrase. Yeah, I literally went on Twitter and my entire feed took me like 4 scrolls to get past that phrase. That was killing me, man.
But yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about anything else at a Bitcoin conference. So he was trying to kind of reel it in there, but he's got some little cryptic messages that he throws in there. So I don't think it was necessarily a misspoke, or he's laughing doing it.
Yeah. For me, I thought it was just hilarious, like, because Elon's brain is just like giga brain, and there's a lot going on in that guy's brain. But what I thought was awesome was like, he said there's some merit to, and then he like says Ethereum, but he was laughing before he said it. So I think intentionally he wanted to say Doge, but then Ethereum was just like dominating his brain, and so he had to put Ethereum first because it's more serious and more advanced. That was my take on it. But obviously, me, I'm biased, so any bullish Ethereum news, I'm gonna be all over it. So
yeah, I mean, I thought it was really, really great. There were some little messages that he threw in there. If you watch the whole thing, he goes on some wild rants about washing machines and volcano energy and really indirect answers. Again, I think he was being coached, but at the same time, he did have some interesting thoughts and kind of ideas that he said that we had thought about Starlink nodes for Ethereum, for Doge, and like they are thinking about these types of things of how they can make it not only more scalable and accessible to people in the world, but also make sure that it's green energy initiatives and making sure that there's no carbon footprint from the types of things that we're trying to do within the space. And kind of Jack's take on it, where he talked about really pushing Bitcoin as a global currency. For me, I know this comes from a bubble in America, but that narrative, at least globally, I think is a little lost, mainly because when you think about what Bitcoin is as a store of value, to really get that narrative driving as a currency, which is Satoshi's original vision, right? Because the difference between Bitcoin as a currency and the US dollar as a currency is the US dollar, there's 12 people sitting in a boardroom deciding whether or not they're going to turn the printer on or not, and deciding and really kind of controlling the global infrastructure as a whole. Whereas Bitcoin is decentralized and can be divided up into infinite number of Satoshis or sats. And that's really the only way to pivot from Bitcoin being a store of value back to its original thesis and ethos of being a currency. Because that's what they're divided. It's not Bitcoins, it's divided into Satoshis or sats, right? So if you wanted to go buy coffee or go pay for a car, you pay for it in Satoshi, in sats. And it's very difficult right now because your first thought of Bitcoin as a payment system or as a payment or a legal tender, and at least in America, is why would I want to part with my Bitcoin? Why would I want to, like, it's the most, in human history, it's the most performing asset of all time. So why would I want to let go of that leverage? Yeah. And someone for us in America might think that and be like, yeah, why would you do that? But when you look at countries in developing countries like Venezuela and Nigeria, where their currency is completely devalued, they can't even fall back onto their fiat. Bitcoin is almost the only vehicle that they have to really live, to trade, to buy things, to take care of their families, to actually create a life for themselves. So here in America, we might say, oh, that's a crazy idea. Whereas somebody in Venezuela says, oh my God, finally, I have some value that I can exchange for things that I need to live.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely, yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with the fact that the Bitcoin as a payment system or native currency, that narrative is, I don't know, that ship seems like it's sailing. And Elon again brought up the point, at least he said on the base layer Bitcoin has scarcity baked in, right? So the fact he's like, so like payments don't really work on the base layer, and then he brings up the Lightning Network and how it's being used in small countries. I don't really know the data on all that, and I don't think he does either, because he would have probably gone deeper into it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, like, if this Lightning Network thing completely takes off, and if Bitcoin, outside of, America, or even within America, if it becomes, some type of, like native currency. But it seems like the store of value narrative is the more dominant one these days.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's what's beautiful thing about crypto, right? You cannot put it into a box. Like, there's no way you can put Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any application in a box and say, this is what it's for, and this is all it's going to be for. It can be, it means different things to different people. Sometimes that can get a little tribalistic, right? I know that I can literally hear the Bitcoin maxi tears when I'm saying that the Satoshi's narrative is dead. But in any case, what I'm saying is that, like, that's the beauty of Ethereum, right? That it allows you to provide those different types of transactions and really give people back more control over how their finances operate. And Bitcoin in the background is that store of value that really backs, the entire ecosystem. Because at the end of the day, like, whether you like it or not, if there's no Satoshi and no Bitcoin, then, we're not sitting here having this conversation. Everything's built off of that. And even with Vitalik and some of these different side chains, if there's no Vitalik and there's no Ethereum, then it's really difficult for all this DeFi and different types of lending protocols to really develop. So it all feeds together, and it is all one beautiful ecosystem, pun intended. But also, we live in the matrix. It's literally the matrix. So it's exciting. You can't just say this is for this and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, I mean, you kind of brought up Ethereum, and I think that's probably going to lead us into our next topic here. We've been kind of within our own, Discord, our private Discord group with our friends. We've been kind of, chit-chatting about the upcoming EIP proposal. So we wanted to kind of talk about that with the eco community and give you guys like the meat and potatoes of what the proposal is, because it's very complex. And, I've read like numerous articles about it, and I still have a hard time spitballing, giving a general idea of what it is. But I was able to find like a nice little meat and potatoes explanation of it, and definitely want to talk about that. But before we get into EIP 1559, I think it's important to understand what Ethereum is. And I found this awesome video that I plan on showing to my mother, because she's always asking me what Ethereum is. And I've tried to explain it to her. And I think, we live in the day and age where, it's nice to have like a video to supplement what you're talking about. So I'm going to play a little clip on what Ethereum is for the layman person here. You might recognize some people in this video, but yeah, let's check it out. Let's see what Ethereum is.
What you got for us?
Hey, babe.
Yeah.
What's Ethereum?
So Ethereum is a general purpose blockchain. So unlike other blockchains like Bitcoin, for example, that are just designed around one application, so the way that Bitcoin is designed around digital money, Ethereum is an open platform that allows people to build their own applications on top. And anything built on top of Ethereum, it's protected, secured, everything is checked by this entire network of thousands of computers around the world that are protecting and checking every transaction on the blockchain. But because it supports a programming language, developers have this unlimited creativity in what kinds of things that they actually create on Ethereum. So you can use Ethereum to make cryptocurrencies or NFTs or many other kinds of things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Too good, man. I love it. Man. Wow. Yeah. So, man, if I was ever, now that I have a video to show my mom with some people that she recognizes, I'm curious what her reaction would be when I play this for her. Definitely going to do that. And then I'll let y'all know what she has to say after that. But yeah, man, I think it's so awesome that they put that video up. And Ashton Kutcher's reaction at the end of it, I think is every normal person's reaction. Clearly, Vitalik just giga brain, trying to give you the short condensed version of what Ethereum is. But even still, it's so expansive that, even in his explanation, you're just like, wait, what? But I still think he did a flawless job of explaining it in a very general term. But yeah, wow, what a great video.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. You know, I think a lot of people were like, kind of like, oh, I don't want to watch it, whatever. But like, that's such great, like, just brand awareness and just making it fun. You know, like that's what we're trying to do, right? We're just trying to make crypto fun and not so like high level or in depth and like crazy and like into the weeds where like you're like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good point, right? Make it fun. Like, let's educate people, but let's keep it light and fun. Yeah, man. I have a feeling Ashton Kutcher was hamming it up a little bit because he's definitely been in the crypto space for a while. So I think he's got a pretty good grasp on crypto and Ethereum. But yeah, man, I'm curious, like how many takes that took. Like, was that just a one-off take? What do you think? Did they just get it one and done, or did they do a couple takes?
No, I think it was pretty candid. I thought it was pretty like, and honestly, I give Ashton and Mina some credit. I mean, they're actors, so I feel like they don't really need a script for something like that. It's like improv, you know?
For sure. Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, so that's Ethereum, folks. If you didn't know what it is, you know, shout out to Vitalik, Ashton, and Mila Kunis for putting that out there. That was just, I had it when I was sending it to my friends. I was like, you have to caption it with wait for it, because we kind of skipped ahead, but you know, Ashton does like a scaffolding, you know, kind of like lead up into what, you know, building up to Ethereum. He starts with like, babe, what's blockchain, what's crypto? And, you know, you're watching the video, you're like, okay, this is super annoying, I'm over it. But I started like right when he said, what is Ethereum? That caught my attention. And then it like shifts over to house, and I was just like, no fucking way, dude. That is too funny.
Did not see that coming.
Friends, you have to, if you do send it to your friends, make sure you caption it with wait for it, because it's definitely well worth the wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into this EIP 1559 thing. It's a proposal for the Ethereum protocol, and it's supposed to be going live, I believe, August 4th or 5th on like a specific block number. I forget what the block number is. But basically, what it's going to do is it's going to change Ethereum's fee market mechanism. So I'm just going to be reading this excerpt I pulled from Consensus, which is, you know, a credible source for Ethereum information. I thought they did a really good job of like putting the meat and potatoes of the idea together. So I'm just going to read verbatim kind of what I pulled from Consensus, but it says, fundamentally, EIP 1559 gets rid of the first price auction as the main gas fee calculation. In first price auctions, people bid a set amount of money to pay for their transaction to be processed, and the highest bidder wins. So if you've ever transacted on Ethereum before, you've paid, you know, GWEI, which is gas, and you know, you typically may have seen on certain wallets like a MetaMask or a Ledger that you can pay, you know, what the average like low gas fee is, the middle gas fee, and the high gas fee. And, you know, as it is of right now with Ethereum, it's, you know, it's just a bidding war to get your transaction pushed through faster. So when you see you know, like the average, you know, GWEI price, you know, GWEI is gas, you know, like today, if I'm looking at my phone right now on my Xerion little widget, it says that for right now, GWEI 14 is the fastest, you know, average GWEI that's being paid.
The GWEI, yeah. Show me the GWEI.
Show me the GWEI. And so, you know, if you want it to go even faster, if you want your transaction pushed through faster, you can pay more than that 14 GWEI. The miner is going to see like, oh, wow, this person's paying more than the average, you know, high transaction GWEI. So I'm going to mine this block because I'm incentivized to mine it because I'm going to earn more money. And so now what EIP 1559 is going to do is it's going to change up that fee market mechanism. And this is how it's going to change it. There's going to be a discrete base fee for transactions to be included in the next block. For users or applications that want to prioritize their transactions, they can add a tip, which is called a priority fee to pay a miner for faster inclusion. EIP 1559 will change Ethereum's fee market mechanism. Fundamentally, it gets rid of the first price auction as the main gas fee calculation. So yeah, we're gonna just see a change up in the fee mechanism, and I'm really curious to see, what that's gonna do as far as just like being a user on the network. I personally haven't been doing anything on L2s yet. I've just been kind of staying on L1, just holding my assets. I mean, all my ETH is staked, so I'm not really like moving things around all that much. And I know L2s offer a cheap
Yeah.
to transact, but yeah, I'm really interested to see, like, as somebody that's still on layer one, what this proposal is going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested because I use it pretty often, right? You're making swaps, moving tokens around, or like you said, for staking, you gotta use fees as well. But like, it'll be interesting because right now, you for me, if I want to move a transaction, because I'm impatient. I usually pony up on that high gas fee. But you do enough high gas fees, and the traffic is high enough, you almost become locked. Like, you cannot move it. I mean, there's cases where I've experienced way that's like, $300-400 for a transaction. That's just not, like, it's not feasible, right? That's not scalable. So it'd be really interesting to see if what this update does is able to really bridge the gap and bring more of the small fish into the space, right? Because $180 on a transaction that you want to send for somebody that has thousands of tokens, it's not that bad. Whatever, I'll just do it. But somebody that's just trying to send or send to a different wallet, or just trying to make a simple swap for a couple $100, and that ends up eating half of your entire transaction. That's terrible. Like, it's unusable. Right. So it'll be really exciting to see with that. And then Uniswap came out with Optimism recently, and that kind of helped some of the slippage and some of the fees as well. So all these different things working together, I think it'll be really cool to watch and see if this new update will be able to kind of scale ETH a little bit better, make it one step closer to that 2.0.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just like, I'm so definitely like stuck in my ways with like L1. Like, I'm afraid to move my assets over to L2. Like, I kind of want to just, wait and see, how it is. I honestly haven't even like looked into like, how to do it. I've listened to people on podcasts talking about, sending assets over across the bridge, costs like $20 or whatever. And then, you can start transacting on the rollups, and, it costs, fractions and fractions of Ether. It's super cheap. But just like moving across that bridge, for me right now is just like, at some point I'm going to do it, but I definitely want to wait until, it like the roll-ups are completely like rolled out, and there's more people like using it and sharing their stories before I go like head first. I definitely want to like play around a little bit, but right now I'm just like chilling in L1.
Right. I mean, it goes back to that trust but verify thing, like, you can trust the tech, but like, when you're moving your money, and depending on how much it is, you want to make sure that you're doing it the right way, because all it takes is, sending it to the wrong address, or one wrong keyword on your seed phrase or whatever it may be, and
right,
you're gone. So that's kind of the thing. It's like, rather be safe than sorry. So
absolutely. All right. Well, we were kind of talking DeFi there a little bit. I guess I could, help us roll into our next topic here that we had on our show notes. DeFi on Bitcoin. What do you think, man? Is that going to happen? We've seen, Square, Jack specifically, tweet out, that they are trying to build DeFi on Bitcoin. What's your take on that?
Well, honestly, like, I'm all about innovation, right? So nothing that is being built on Bitcoin is going to be detrimental to the space, right? I mean, I think growth and innovation and more progress and more usage and more total locked value to the space, no matter what program or protocol it is, as long as it's, a safe and secure one, is great, right? So yeah, like Stacks is trying to bring some NFTs to Bitcoin and this, that, and the other. But for me, at the end of the day, regardless if Bitcoin or if DeFi gets built on Bitcoin, it's going to have to bridge to Ethereum. There's no other way about it. I mean, regardless of what happens, even if Bitcoin does build this big, robust ecosystem on DeFi, they're going to have to somehow bridge towards Ethereum, because that is the nucleus of all chains and side chains and really the basis for DeFi. And you've seen kind of where some of these other tokens have come in, right? Like they used to be called the ETH killers, or the next ETH, or we do it better than ETH, like a Tezos or a Cardano or a EOS. And you see what's happened to those projects is they've become ghost chains. Yes, there are certain things being built on them, but the total locked value and all the usage, all the build, all the devs are going to Ethereum, and also going to the friendly ones, right? It's almost like the concept, if you can't beat them, join them, right? So you've seen Matic do it, you've seen Binance Smart Chain do it, you've seen things like Solana, where they are built and all can bridge, and Terra as well, where they bridge to Ethereum. They have their own ecosystem and can capture some of that network value and maybe get some of those users that don't want to pay those high transaction fees or want to be able to access DeFi in a different application or be able to build on a different framework and protocol. But it's all user friendly and it all works in unison together. So as innovative and exciting as DeFi on Bitcoin is, if they do not bridge, it's going to not really make a whole lot of sense. Right. Because that total locked value, even on these side chains, isn't just going to say, okay, you know what, we're just going to move over to Bitcoin because it's Bitcoin. That's just not how it works. And you've seen exactly what happened with Ethereum. People weren't just like, oh, let's move everything over to Cardano or everything over to Neo, because it's just not how it works. Right. Everything needs to really work together, and Ethereum has become that nucleus, regardless of what you think about, different tokens and what happens. That's just how it is.
Yeah. From the tech standpoint, it's like, yeah, you can compare prices or whatever, but as far as like the expansion of the networks, I mean, clearly, Ethereum has expanded at an insane. The ecosystem is unbelievable, and
it doesn't make one better than the other, right? Like, that's not what we're saying, that like, oh, Bitcoin can't do that because Ethereum is so great. It's that Bitcoin has, again, we've talked about, the narrative has completely changed as a store of value, and it plays a role in crypto. But like Vitalik was talking about, it's built for one purpose, where something like Ethereum, it's built for pretty much anything, right? We talked about how you can think of Ethereum as the internet, right? And you have applications like Google, like Amazon, like a Facebook. They all serve their different purposes, but they all run on the same thing. And so it's kind of like the same concept of what Ethereum's trying to accomplish, but then you can have different types of browsers and different types of things that all connect and interwork with it, but they all run on the same highway. And basically what you're creating is a digital matrix of multiple highways, different side streets, and different ways to get from A to B that are cheaper or more efficient or more secure. So how Bitcoin and DeFi fits into that, definitely to be determined. It's exciting to see what will happen. But by the time DeFi on Bitcoin gets to where Ethereum and even something like a Solana or Matic are at, where are they going to be at, right? So it's almost trying to play catch up in this exponential growth space. Right.
Yeah. I saw this funny reply tweet to the founder of Stacks, got in this Twitter argument with ETH guys, and this guy Brantley ETH, that's his name on Twitter. He's the director of operations for the ENS domains, to get a .eth domain. He posted this picture of transactions that have happened on Stacks within the last hour of when he had replied, and it was only 16 transactions on Stacks happened within an hour. So and that's I just don't think a lot of people know about Stacks, but with Square announcing their whole DeFi initiative, I mean, obviously Square is people trust Square. Square is has been an established company for not a long time, but for a little while now, and people trust Square, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of developments happen on there, and what the usability is with Bitcoin and things like that. So I mean, definitely not counting out the whole DeFi on Bitcoin thing, but it's just if it was able to be done, why now? It seems that narrative of oh, we can build on Bitcoin or around Bitcoin has been going on for so long and has been tried multiple times. I think Blockstream was a company that tried to do smart contracts on Bitcoin, and it kind of fell through. And I just think it's like at this point, I don't see it happening. But you know, I can't
Keep an open mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's one of those things,
mind,
it's not something that really hurt. I think honestly anything that can benefit the community, bring more usage, bring more awareness is always great.
right.
But yeah, look, follow the devs.
Yeah, follow the
That's
Love
a common thing. Follow the devs. Where are the devs going?
All right. Cool, man. Well, I guess should we roll into our next topic here?
Yeah.
Crypto and sports. So if you guys watched our first episode, you know, we had brought up the fact that we're big sports fans, and we love seeing, you know, the adoption of crypto in the sports world. And it seems like, you know, every week there's like some new newsworthy story about, you know, an athlete or, you know, a professional organization. So we wanted to just pull, you know, one newsworthy thing that we saw in the recent news cycle about crypto and sports, and that's Saquon Barkley, the running back for the New York Giants, announced that he would be receiving all his marketing revenue in Bitcoin, which I think is huge. I mean, Saquon Barkley is, you know, one of the best running backs in the league, RIP to his knees. I don't know if he'll be the best moving forward. Was that you that drafted him last year?
Yeah, it was. That was a nice little jab at my fantasy team. A second overall pick that played one game.
Ouch.
3 games.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
man. RIP Saquon's knees. Hopefully that Bitcoin revenue can maybe help with future surgeries or something like that. I'm just playing. I think Saquon's gonna make a comeback this year. I might draft him.
I don't know. They should do a proposal and just have him reimburse everybody that drafted him the last 2 years in Bitcoin. That'd be pretty cool. Share the wealth.
Here's to all my fans that drafted me last year. Yeah, who can scrub the ESPN fantasy data? That'd be sick. Like almost like a class action lawsuit, right? Like you get an email from like ESPN fantasy, like, hey, we noticed that you drafted Saquon last year and he only played 1 game. File your claim to get 0.000001 Bitcoin. That'd be hilarious. All right, cool. Well, yeah, that's what's, you know, happening in sports. I'm sure there's a bunch of other crypto stuff happening in sports, but that was just one that kind of stood out to us.
Hold up.
Heyo.
Woo! All right, so we got another challenge. We're going to talk about before we get into the most uninfluential people in Bitcoin, those old men that love to yell and hoot and holler. We're going to go ahead and do one more challenge. So we're going to do a crypto hero challenge. So go ahead and let us know who you consider to be the most influential person in the crypto space and why. Go ahead and write their name in a single sentence in the hashtag crypto chat, and just give us an idea of why you think that they're important. First 10 people to do that will get 10 points, and we will do a bonus of 15 points for the person that gives the most compelling submission. So whoever gives us the best reason why that person is most influential, go ahead and collect 15 extra bonus points. So you can walk away with 25 total. And that'll give you enough to get in that lottery and spin that wheel.
Nice plug. Nice lottery plug.
Thanks, brother. It's coming. It's starting to kind of come together a little bit.
All right, dude. Well, this is like the segment that you coined here. Our old men screaming at Bitcoin. It seems like every week we got a new old guy somewhere in the world, some influential old guy screaming at Bitcoin to get off his lawn. Josh, who's our old man screaming at Bitcoin?
Oh, well, he's actually been quite a hero for many of us, and kind of just went that route and just kind of decided to go down the old man screaming at Bitcoin. It was a hero turned old man. But this is Mr. Powell, the Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed. He basically came out and said, cryptocurrencies have completely failed as a payment system. Which is pretty funny because that's actually like completely not what's actually happening in the space. It just goes to show again how far behind these people are. They do not, either they do not care or do not want to care, one of the two, about whether, kind of understanding what's happening, and they basically have this predetermined prejudice against anything and all things crypto. So you could tell that type of statement is very uneducated, antiquated, and just his biggest thing that cracked me up was that CBDCs will go ahead, and once the US has its own digital token, there will be no longer a use for Bitcoin, which is the complete antithesis of Bitcoin, and which is actually hilarious because a lot of people think that these CBDCs are going to be great and it's going to be able to transform how we handle payments. But the craziest thing about these CBDCs is they are now going to fully control and access your money. They are going to be able to see what you are spending, where you are spending. The information and the privacy that you will have will therefore be the opposite of what you get on Ethereum, stable coins, Bitcoin, and that autonomy that you do have, giving you back that power. Those CBDCs can very quickly take that power away and give them all that power. So basically, you think of Bitcoin as decentralized and Satoshi creating that with not one head behind it. Well, the CBDCs, now these central banks control everything. They can see everything. So, in terms of autonomy and just remaining anonymous and having your own control over your money, it can be a little bit scary. So when he's saying things like that, not to say that that's going to happen, it's a slippery slope is what I'm trying to say. Is what it is. Whereas Bitcoin, that's not even a thing. So Powell saying that it's completely failed as a currency and that it's no longer going to be a need. Well, actually, it's going to be the entire reason and going to even justify Bitcoin and the use of Ethereum that much more.
I mean, someone's just got to school Powell on Eco and AMP already. Like, bro, Bitcoin ain't the payment currency, man.
Yeah.
Other projects though.
Yeah. BlockFi. I mean, somebody needs to plug him that. Someone needs to just sit him down and be like, hey man, let me show you.
Yeah, we got to get Tyler Spalding connected with Powell, man. I'm sure it'll happen one day. All right, I kind of wanted to talk about another old man screaming at Bitcoin before we roll into our last segment here, and that is the homie, or I guess not really the homie. I don't really consider him a homie actually. Jamie Dimon, right? CEO of JP Morgan Chase Bank. For those that may have missed the news a couple days ago, on the 21st, it was announced that JP Morgan was going to be the first bank to offer their wealthiest clients access to Grayscale's cryptocurrency funds. So like GBTC, GETH, I think GLTC, and I don't know if there's a couple others in there, but I found that hysterically ironic because in May of 2021, Jamie Dimon, I forget who he was, which news outlet he was talking to, but I pulled the quote and he said that I am not a Bitcoin supporter. I have no interest in it, but people have to remember that a currency is supported by the taxing authority of a country, the rule of law, a central bank. So sounds like a banker talking banker things, but I just find it hilarious because it's like, okay, dude, JP Morgan has been like one of the most like innovative bank partners in the crypto world. Like they helped found the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. They also were a part of a $65 million fundraising round for Consensus to accelerate the convergence of DeFi and Web3 applications on Ethereum. And then you have like their head CEO who's just like, he spoke, very specifically about Bitcoin. So maybe he's like an Ethereum maximalist, but is worried about, like pumping the bags out to the public. So he's got to like pseudo bash Bitcoin, but low key his company is just like driving forward the Ethereum ecosystem. I just think it is hilarious. Obviously, the CEO of a bank is like, he's the figurehead. He's not making every decision. There's obviously a lot of other players, people involved that are making these decisions to get involved in these innovative technologies. But yeah, I just think that's like, typical old man screaming at Bitcoin while his company, is getting involved with cryptocurrency.
And I'll give you the trading intuition on that one, which is hilarious because I believe that first FUD of him, kind of talking, not being an active supporter or whatever, and blah blah blah, came at a time when Bitcoin was about over like $54,000, and then things kind of bottom out and kind of take a toll, and then all of a sudden now they're going to offer these types of investments to some of their largest clients. So it's kind of interesting how these different types of things play out and come out when they do. We're going to work on a segment with that comes out with who filled their bags this week, or who filled their bags since we last talked. And that's a pretty good way to fill your bag, FUD it down 50% and then throw it out there that the richest friends can go ahead and buy it through JP Morgan Chase.
Yeah, I love those headlines. Like there was when Morgan Stanley was offering their clients access to cryptocurrencies too. The headline was similar. It was like Morgan Stanley to offer wealthiest clients access to cryptocurrencies. And I'm just sitting over here like, oh, I can access those from my fingertips.
What do you think about like the wealth? What's a wealthiest client? Like if it's like $10 million and there's one guy that's got like $9,999,000 and they're like, nope, sorry, sir. You are not one of the wealthiest.
I think the cutoff was like having 2 million in assets, but that would be hilarious, right? Like there's like this totem pole of like, nah, you're not that wealthy, so you don't make the cut. You can't get into this volatile stuff. Like it's too dangerous for you. But yeah, I think the cutoff was 2 million for Morgan Stanley. As far as JP Morgan Chase, I don't know like what they consider wealthy. I didn't get too deep into that, but yeah, man, just funny stuff. But yeah, that's our old men screaming at Bitcoin segment. I'm sure we are going to have some new old men filling in that segment in the future. But yeah, that's a fun one. I love talking old man telling you to get off his Bitcoin lawn. All right, so we have our crypto fails segment. This is gonna be our last segment of the show. We pulled 2 crypto fail stories from the eco community. Thank you for those of you that were cool enough to send your crypto fail stories. Josh and I have definitely had a couple fails in our experience, and we've definitely found that the best way to get over a fail is to just be an open book and share it with a friend or a constituent that understands what failing in the space is. You learn from your failures, which I think is the bright side of these fails, but some fails can definitely hurt more than others. So I'm going to start us off with our first story. This person wanted to remain anonymous. So this story was shared with Dave. And so the person that did share this story, Dave knows who you are and he will send you points after your story is read. So I'm just going to roll right into it. It's a quick one, not too long here. So here we go. It says, without many words, let's start. In 2018, I got a chance to invest in Quark Chain. I definitely remember Quark Chain, part of that ICO craze. I remember that. The hype about this ICO was really crazy, and there was like 1,000 to 2,000 people who got a chance to invest in this project. After successful purchase, the first listing was Binance. Oh man, that Binance listing during that ICO craze was just like hitting the jackpot, baby.
Yep.
Automatic like 20-30% pump, like on day of listing for sure.
Missed the zero.
Oh yeah, 200, 300 for sure. Yeah, some of them absolutely. So he says, the first listing was Binance. I could fix my investment on 15 to 20x, but because I was absolutely new to the ICOs in crypto, I didn't do it. I thought it would go higher, but it started to drop. This is a story how I turned into a bag holder. I sold in 2019 through 2020 on a 3 to 5x, still earned money, but that's the end of it. Boy, can we relate, right?
Yes.
You've gotten that moon, you put some money into your moon bag, it goes to the moon, and you're like, well, now I can go to fucking Pluto, and then it kind of comes back down to Earth, and you're like, well, I made a little bit of money, so I'll sell it. And hey, winning's winning, right? Like,
you win,
but,
you win. I would say the two, and to your story, the two most scary or like kind of difficult emotions in crypto, if you're trading or if you're, trying to, kind of do what or overcome what the anonymous read did, is the feeling of it's going to go higher and the feeling of, oh my God, it's going to go lower. Those two emotions are some of the hardest to control. And even, I can kind of throw in my own experience here, kind of the reverse of what I did, right? Last DeFi summer, I was heavily, I was doing some trading on Binance before they locked out US customers. And I had a specific asset called Lend. And Lend was about 10, 15 cents at the time when I was trading it. And I traded it, bought like 21,000 of them at 10, 15 cents and sold it at like 21, 25, thinking I was so cool for a 2X. 3-4 months later, they go ahead and make a complete swap over to a token called Aave and gave the holders of Lend about a quarter or a half of what they had in Lend in this new Aave. And lo and behold, I sold a token that was 25 cents that eventually hit $600. So yeah, that's one that I can relate in the opposite way of thinking that it's not going to go higher and goes exponentially higher.
Yeah, I mean, but like from what I remember with Aave and Lend was like Lend, you had to like migrate the tokens onto Aave, but you got like a considerable amount less tokens because the price, like the price point was higher. So still, I mean, you lost out on like a nice chunk of change, but like the actual like conversion rate of like 21 cents to $600 is like not the right conversion rate, because you would have got like a considerably less amount of tokens. But yeah, still that's a tough I mean, it's not a loss.
I don't want to do the math. I did the math the way it would do 1-to-1. It made me feel better that it wasn't 1-to-1, but the math was probably still gonna max pain.
Absolutely. All right, bro. Do you want to read our next story? You can share this person's name too, because they're happy to share their username.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one is from Tevi in the Discord. So you'll be getting eco points from Dave. And he says, hi, I am a university student who invested in cryptocurrency since 2013 in Korea, even participated in the Ethereum ICO. Wow, baller. We got an OG over here, like legit. Ethereum was like less than $1 when it IPO'd, which is crazy. So Tevi, you demand. You're pays to be early. Tevi. Anyways, so he was at the time I ran a game server called Gmod or Gary Mod. And meanwhile, I was familiar with a foreigner named Gomkek, and I became interested in crypto because of him. So I mined crypto and bought Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Feathercoin. Wow, throw that back there, etc. at the exchange. A few years later, there was a crypto boom. And when I tried to find my crypto, the exchanges I put it in, Mt. Gox, BTCE, Cryptopia, were all destroyed by embezzlement, money laundering, and hacking. Oh, I feel your pain, brother. Fortunately, I found some coins, including Ethereum, which I kept in my wallet, but I lost a lot of them. There's still some resentment. If I had kept the tokens in my wallet, not on the exchange, my life would have been completely different. I still have some money to spare, but if I hadn't made this mistake, I wouldn't have had to get a job anymore. Yeah, man, I mean, that's a tough one. That's a heartbreaker. I think Rob has a similar story that not as grand as that, but we'll let him talk about it in a minute. But that's why we talked about, kind of making sure that when you have tokens on exchange, there's a saying that we have is, not your keys, not your tokens. So if they are not in your cold wallet or your secured wallet, even on MetaMask, you want to have something like an Argent or a Ledger or something that is safe and secure off exchange that only can really get hacked if you click on a bad link or if you deposit tokens that are compromised. things that are outside of your control, right? Even with Coinbase and Gemini being as secure and backed as they are still open for, an attack, which would be horrible. I really hope that never happens, but you don't want to leave yourself open to that type of risk, because they do have, measures in place that will go ahead and refund those lost funds. But you as an investor, you as a person having to go through that experience of trying to wait for your tokens and this, that, and the other, and the class action lawsuits and the horrific experience that might have been, Tebby. We live and we learn, but at that time, that wasn't even a thought on anybody's mind, right? You figured like, yeah, we'll just trade them here and everything will be cool. But unfortunately, it just takes one person to come in and ruin it for everybody. So always keep your, the majority of your assets, on an exchange. Obviously, you want to keep them liquid, keep them on exchange, but definitely secure those tokens in some place that's safe and protected.
Yeah, and also shout out to Tebby. He sent us his Ethereum address. I mean, obviously we can't prove it's his. He could have pulled a random one, but I don't think he did that.
I don't think he did that. There's no way.
He shared his ETH address with us, and you
can
go back
to
that and look at the Ether scan and see that he was in fact an ETH OG. So shout out to Tebby for sharing his ETH address. We appreciate that. We won't share it here, but we
of course not.
We
appreciate you kind of trusting us and letting us verify. There you go.
Yeah, no, I thought that was cool. I mean, I'm always open to share my ETH address, but yeah, I thought that was dope. But yeah, I mean, I think you can feel a little bit more secure now with certain exchanges like Coinbase and Gemini. I think they've withstood the test of time. But we're both huge advocates of custodying your own crypto, and there's always the idea of like keeping some on an exchange as hot storage that you want to trade and move around, but stuff that you're long term on, put that stuff away, man. Take care of it yourself. And I definitely learned the hard way with that as well. I got into Bitcoin in college and wasn't really like that experience with cryptography or like holding like making a cold storage wallet and things like that. And in college I was using Bitcoin to like transact for certain things that don't need to be mentioned here. But I definitely
buying pizza.
Yeah, buying pizza. Yeah, that's right. But I'm just joking. But yeah, I was interested in the technology and how it works. So I was moving it around to pay for items and things like that. Max Payne there, looking back at like the block explorers and seeing how much Bitcoin I had spent, and if I would have kept it, I wouldn't be living in this apartment. I'd have a nice little house in LA. But yeah, there's also definitely like some Bitcoin that's just like lost forever on some wallets that I don't have access to because I didn't take care of saving my seed phrase. Or I think actually no, it was like I was using like blockchain.com, which I think was like a centralized like wallet service / like place where you can buy Bitcoin, and I just like didn't save my information, write it down or anything. So there's some floating Bitcoin out there that I could probably claim, but I've tried. But
well, Tebby, I mean, there is still hope. I know that they are still trying to redistribute those funds from that hack. So
yeah, I think with Mt. Gox, that ship has sailed. You had to like file a claim in order to get the Bitcoin back. So maybe our boy Tebby did file a claim. I don't know. We'll have to get back to him on that. But yeah,
Tebby, I'm giving you a hug reading that though, brother. I love you, man. That's tough.
That's tough. That's Max Payne right there.
Yeah, it was, but you were not alone. That was not an isolated incident. It wasn't just your wallet, right? I mean, I think it was like millions of Bitcoin that got kind of lost and stolen, and so sometimes just bad actors kind of got to get in there and ruin it for everybody.
Yeah. All right, bro. Well, I think we've hit all our notes, man. How'd you feel about that one?
Good. You think they're done? You think they're tired of hearing us talk yet?
Probably. We've went well over an hour, but I think that just means we're having a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, do you want to have your send off?
Yeah. We're definitely going to have those points sent out. So keep an eye out for that. If you have any feedback or anything else that we may have covered, go ahead and just PM us or even just ping us in the crypto chat. or if, we may have misspoke or said something wrong, we definitely want to make sure that, we get that ironed out. So, we're open for interpretation, open for feedback. If you guys think we should do something different or want to, see something else talked about on the show, we're all ears. We'll probably be back here in the next 2 weeks. We're trying to do about 2 episodes a month and keeping it fresh, keeping it light, and having a good time.
All right, Eco community and anybody else that's watching, thanks for listening and tuning in. Peace, love, and financial freedom, folks.